Hey everyone out there, welcome back to Radio Free Decipher, your weekly dose of the something look inside Decipher.
Yes, and also your chance to hear me and Kyle kind of complain about whatever's on our minds at the time of the broadcast.
Really? We're complaining, huh?
I don't know, it seems like today we might mention, moving, because you mentioned the house last week.
Oh, that's right.
So we moved last weekend, and...
boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah. So I thought we might complain about that.
All right, complaining mode off.
Yeah, all right.
We're done. Let's get to business.
Oh.
But there's not much business today. But
No.
there's some fun business.
Yes, there is. We're going to dedicate today's broadcast to Frank.
That's right. Monica got a beta. It's one of those little Chinese fighting fish. And his name is Frank. And supposedly he's from New Jersey. I don't know.
Yeah, that's sort of, let's just say the legend, the ballad of Frank is growing already.
That's right. And, he's a pretty aggressive fish. Every time somebody walks in her office, she's like, he's instantly like at the bowl trying to like get at the person, whoever it is. So.
Well, you got to think about, your life as a fish being in that little bowl. Somebody walks by, that's pretty exciting.
I suppose so.
But anyway.
We digress.
Big shout out to Frank. Today, we are going to give you a taste of the Mines of Moria set.
Ooh, so good.
We're going to spoil a couple cards for you right here.
That's right. But not until the end.
Yeah, of course. Because we just like to toy with your emotions.
That's
like
right.
that.
And, we want you to...
Of course, all they do is hit fast forward.
Don't hit fast forward, people.
Yeah, come on, people. So this morning was the... Design Challenge 2.
It's actually probably going on right now.
Yeah?
For those of you in the know on how Radio Free Decipher works, we are simultaneously broadcasting on Radio Free Decipher, and I am playing in the Designers Challenge tournament.
Yes, this is the wonder of tape delay.
That's right. And I'm probably doing well. I don't know.
One would hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Your last
there
time...
are a lot of really good decks.
Yeah, there were. I was looking at some of the designs.
And I'm looking at the decks this time, and I'm thinking that some of the other ones are better than mine. I've played the deck that I have twice now, and I have won, actually 3 times. I've won both the games that I played that were one-on-one, and then I played in a multiplayer, and I got a really bad draw, and... Yeah, hey, you can complain all you want about bad draw, but even Chuck went, yeah, that's not just complaining, you got a bad draw. So I was stuck with all these Aragorn cards in my hand and no Aragorn.
But you still have a little bit of a bad vibe, huh? Just that other decks are maybe better?
Yeah, I don't think mine's bad by any means. I think it's a very good deck, but I think some of the other ones are just like, whoa, really tight. So
you are probably not going to be repeating as a champion
of
the
Designers Challenge. You know what, though? I'm going to do my best.
All right.
I'm going to do my best.
Fair enough.
So I'm 2-0, man. I'm 2-0. So.
Yeah.
All right. So Designers Challenge going on right now. There should be a message board that you guys can go and see play-by-play, basically, of the tournament and who's winning and who's not. And so it should be pretty exciting. I know the people that watched the first one on the message boards had a really good time. So.
And incidentally, of course, by now, we mean Friday, the 1st of February, the day that this goes up. If you're listening to this on Saturday, we're not still doing it.
That's right.
I hope.
Yeah, it's not that long of a tournament.
Okay.
Also,
in today's web push, yes.
That went up today on the website were a bunch of cave trolls.
Yes, a whole... You don't ever want to see that many cave trolls in the dark alley.
One for each of the languages that are being Fellowship of the Ring. The first, the initial set of Lord of the Rings trading card game is published in 8 different languages, and an example of each of the languages, specifically the cave trolling language, is up on the website right now. My personal favorite, gotta go with Chinese.
Chinese.
Pretty wacky looking.
Yeah, they are different.
All I could make out was +1 and -2 and Moria.
Well, there you go.
The Moria icon. That was all I could make out. So, but pretty neat stuff.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had the opportunity, go. And if you're from, specifically if you speak one of those languages, go check it out. It's pretty cool stuff.
There you go.
Pretty cool stuff. So what do you have Star Trek for us today, Evan?
Today, it seems I'm in story mode every week now. For
That's
Star
right.
Trek.
That's
so
right. I saw the packaging for the next set up on your desk today.
Well, that's not final.
Is it preliminary still?
Yeah, we're packaging takes a long time to print, a lot longer than the cards do, and it has to be done ahead of time, obviously, so you have something to put the cards in. So we are looking at package designs now, even though the release of the set is,
That's right.
still a ways off.
And it's also doubly important because it's the first thing that a consumer sees.
Right. So we're just looking at a couple of different ideas, and I happen to have one sitting on my desk.
It was bluish.
It was kind of bluish, and in fact, when they were doing the pack, they asked, what color should the motif maybe be, and I said, well, I don't know. Let's see. We did Voyager, and that was green, and we did Borg, and that was orange, and we did Holodeck, which is kind of yellow. So, gee, we haven't done blue for a while. Let's do blue.
Oh, really?
And that was about all there was to that.
That's why it's kind of got a blue motif.
Yeah, but again, preliminary, and to be perfectly frank, you guys are probably not going to get to see what this pack looks like for a month or two, or, it's a ways down the road. But we're looking at that in advance.
Cool.
Because we have to plan ahead.
That's right.
Maybe that's what my story will be about. Here's a case where we planned ahead for something, and then it didn't work out the way we expected it to.
All right.
Way back in...
flashback mode?
Flashback mode. Very nice. Go back to the time when we were working on the Trouble with Tribble set, and that was where we first kind of introduced original series characters fully into the game. Had, all the bridge crew from there. And at that time, we were actually thinking of movie stuff a little bit, because we were trying to decide whether Captain Kirk and Admiral Kirk, for example, whether Mr. Spock and Captain Spock, basically all the old series versions and all the movie versions, whether they were going to be versions of the same persona. And at that time, we decided no. They were going to be different persona. You could have your Admiral Kirk, you could have your Captain Kirk, and that seemed like a pretty good idea at the time. And so it kind of contributed to the naming pattern that we used for all of those cards. Well, now you fast forward back to the present, watch forward now, and we decided that wasn't right, because we just got into a whole bunch of games, and people had, their entire science contingent of the deck came from 3 Spocks. You had, like, regular Spock,
right.
You had movie Spock, and you had show Spock, and it was just too much Spock.
Right.
So we ultimately decided to make all of the movie characters be versions of their non-movie persona, which created a few interesting problems in terms of how to get that name in boldface into the lore. Because some of those guys had names like Ensign Chekhov and Lieutenant Sulu and things like that. So we had to do some tricky things with lore. And then there's also 1 or 2 cards, or maybe just 1 card in this set, where we're actually spoiling, we're giving you the movie version before we give you the original series version. So we're putting a name in boldface in the lore of a card that doesn't exist yet.
Interesting.
So
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, a little bit. Hopefully this time we'll plan ahead a little better than we did last time. So anyway,
right.
So today's story is about planning ahead.
Good stuff.
And maybe you picked a few card titles out of that, as giving you the details.
Right. Good stuff.
Now on to spoilers that are a little more written in stone, seeing as how they're on press and all.
That's right. Mines of Moria.
Yes.
Are you guys ready?
You've selected 2 cards for us
today?
I do.
And they
Very
sort
cool.
of have a theme, and I have a story for the theme,
okay.
as a matter of fact.
What comes first, the story?
The story.
All right.
Today, I had heard about a deck that was played out in California recently. So we have 2 guys in-house that do nothing but play Lord of the Rings all day long and test out whatever we're doing, for all the different games. That's all they do. So I went up to him and I said, hey, I heard about this deck, kind of described it a little bit, kind of told him, I never saw a deck list. I had just heard about it. So went up there and said, can you design this deck for me? So they designed it, and I played against it today. I actually played against it with the Designer's Challenge deck that I have, and that was one of my victories. But but it did some really, really cool stuff. I won't go into all the details of the deck design, but suffice to say, it did utilize, again, the Mirror of Galadriel and Shoulder to Shoulder and cards like that, but it wasn't for an abusive discard strategy. It was for a really, really strong, not abusive, but really strong card drawing engine. and it used Gimli with delvings and multiple Elrons and things like that to sort of set up some certain things, and it was amazing. It drew so many cards so fast. I think on his first turn he got out Galadriel, Elrond, Celeborn, the Mirror of Galadriel, and Shoulder to Shoulder, and Thrarin, and he must have drawn like 15 cards on his first turn, and it was just like, holy Moses.
Okay.
Delving twice, I don't even know, whatever, he just drew a bajillion cards. He went through his entire 60-card deck by Sight 4.
Oops.
We were just like, holy, and he had out 9 members of the Fellowship, and all their toys on them and everything, and he still was able to, like, even what he had done was, it was sort of a Moria strategy, and it used Fool of a Took and stuff like that, and he drew up his last 18 cards with Full of a Took at one shot and laid out 20 minions against me all in one shot, and we were just like...
And you won?
And I beat him.
Wow. Damn, man.
One of the engines, the Galadriel engine, is used to try and pick power according to his statures out of their hands, because that's the one card that really hoses this deck.
Right.
And so it's designed around pulling out power according to his statures to, because that's anti-Moria Swarm. And I had drawn that in my hand right before he did that, so he didn't have the opportunity really to... He wasn't able to snag with the power according to his stature, so I was able to win.
Okay,
but it was incredible.
So you're playing against this deck that does this massive, ridiculous card drawing engine.
That's right.
Gosh, Kyle, what do we do to stop that?
Well, it's not necessarily an abusive strategy. It was really strong, but like I said, he didn't win. It was basically an all or nothing type minion strategy, and it didn't necessarily work. But card drawing is very, very powerful, and so in Mines of Moria you're going to see some stuff that helps to curb card drawing engines, but you also will see new stuff that will help out card drawing engines. So we don't, card drawing is a very important manipulation strategy element of the game. So the first card that we have is a Sauron card. It's a condition.
Okay.
It's 0 Twilight to play it. It's called Verily I Come. It says, to play, exert a Sauron Orc. Plays on the Ring Bearer. Okay. Each time the Free People's player draws a card or takes a card into hand during the Fellowship phase, add a burden. So, in the game that we had just played, Frodo would be dead on the first turn.
Well, you wouldn't draw that many cards.
Right, exactly.
Now, this is only card drawing during the Fellowship phase, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, if a card says, at the beginning of your turn, draw a card, that is not in the Fellowship phase.
Right.
If you can draw a card in any other phase but the Fellowship phase, you're good.
Still, a lot of those methods you were describing are Fellowship phase cards.
Correct. So now we'll look at a Free People's card that's a card that still helps card drawing.
Okay.
It is a dwarf event.
Okay.
Called Tidings of Erebor.
Okay.
It says, during the regroup phase,
clever,
spot a dwarf to draw 3 cards. Period. Whoa, good.
Okay.
Then it says, any shadow player may remove 3 to prevent this.
Okay.
So it's still a really good supplement to, delving, which is just, exert a dwarf to draw 3 cards. But if you're using the shoulder-to-shoulder trick to heal up your dwarves like crazy, you're adding a bunch of pool, then your opponent's going to be able to cancel that card. So, but it's still a very strong card. So, we'll be good.
Okay.
So, you have new cards that are going to help curb card drawing, and you're going to have cards that will help card drawing.
So now, it kind of just shifts things around a little bit.
I mean, basically, a Free People's player can still get around that card that hurts you for drawing cards.
I mean, it's a condition like any other.
Exactly.
And
Sweet Caradhras or Athalas will get rid of it. So.
And of course, you can only have 4 of them in your deck.
That's
so
right.
It doesn't shut down any of that. It just shifts things around a little bit.
And by the way, let me look here.
He's paging through a binder with cutouts of all the Mines of Moria cards.
By the way, both of those cards are non-unique, so you can have multiple of them in play.
Okay.
Your first 2 RFD Mines of Moria spoilers.
Very fun.
Yep. Boy, you know what though? I'm gonna take that deck that I saw that was built today, and I'm gonna strip out the minion strategy, and I'm gonna do a new minion strategy to it. I think it's gonna be a great deck.
You gonna add Balrogs?
No, I think I'm gonna do Sauron.
Okay.
Because with that fast of a card drawing engine, I should be able to get out all of my Under the Watching Eyes, all of my hates, all of that stuff like super quick.
Okay. Sounds like you got a plan, man.
I hope so.
All right.
I hope so.
So there you have it. A little bit of news spreading it around for everything today, and
but it's chock full of goodness.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. All right, everyone out there, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you later.